Okay, hey guys, I have an update for you. Unfortunately, it is not a good update. So I started Legend Born by Tracy Dion. I don't like it. So my excitement for this book stemmed from the fact that I had heard that it had to do with Arthurian legend, and let me just say, do not believe that. Very, very loosely based in Arthurian legend. Very loose. And so my excitement for the book kind of died because that's the main reason I was hyped for it. And unfortunately, it reads very, very young. The Arthurian legend is very, very loose, and I just couldn't get into it. I DNF'd it at 20%. On a brighter note, a happier note, I am going to start American Demon by Kim Harrison. I should love this because it's the Hollows series, and I absolutely love Rachel Morgan and the Hollows series, and this is a continuation, so we should have no problems here. On Moth and Spark, I'm only about 50 pages into it, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's pretty good. No great things to say, no awful things to say. So we're going to see how this goes. And I did download Dracula the Undead by Dar Stoker. I think that's what it's called. So let's see if I can get through the rest of this TBR 10. Bye. Alrighty guys, I am here for another update with you, and exciting. I am about 63 pages into this, about 6 chapters, and it is everything I wanted it to be. The characters that I know and love are back. This is the 14th book in the Hollows series. This is the return to Rachel Morgan and her story. And it is so good, so nostalgic. Just, again, everything I was hoping that it would be. So am I predicting a 5-star? I don't know yet. We haven't really gotten very far in the story, but it is just like picking up where Rachel's story left off in the original series. So I'm very excited. Okay, as for Moth and Spark, it's okay. The writing is very, like, almost juvenile, and I don't want to make it sound like it's young adult, because that's not what I'm saying. Like, it just seems very... It's not flowery in any way. It's not, like, the descriptions aren't great. The dialogue isn't great. And so those aspects seem a little juvenile. But the story is progressing really well. The plot so far has been pretty good, and things are happening that are a little confusing, but I feel like they'll be cleared up very quickly or very soon. So we'll see how this one goes. But I'm really enjoying American Demon. We'll see how I feel about Moth and Spark in the coming days. Bye. Okay, here we are. Day 3 of the reading vlog. And I have finished American Demon. It was everything I was hoping it was going to be. Ivy, Jinx, Trent, like the whole cast is back. Rachel is going through some stuff like she normally is. We have some new characters show up, but it was definitely a 5-star return to the Hollows for me. Absolutely loved it. So I have not started Dracula the Undead yet. That is coming up soon. Today I kind of took a little bit of a breather to listen to some short stories that I had downloaded from Audible. I listened to a couple of the Forward series stories. I listened to The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and The Bone Farm by Dean Koontz. And they were all pretty good. Not gonna lie, they were all definitely worth listening to. And so I've kind of been putting off reading Moth and Spark. I don't know if I'm liking it or not. There are aspects of it that I am enjoying. There are aspects of it that I'm not. I'm kind of just going back and forth with it. I really don't know. If I'm gonna like it. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. On that note, on my Libby app, I guess I had put on hold The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So I have the audio of it. I'm following along. I know it's a really complexly wrote, purpley prose kind of book, so I'm kind of trying to listen to it as I'm reading along. So since I had it on hold, which I totally forgot I had it on hold, I decided to go ahead and borrow it and listen to it, and hopefully I'll get that knocked out, and then I will start Dracula the Undead. All right, that's it. Bye. And I'm back with another update for you guys. Check this out. Sleepy doggy. Okay. So, this round of my TBR 10 has been pretty disappointing, I'm gonna have to say. With the DNFs and I'm going to DNF Moth and Spark, guys. I can't convince myself to pick it back up. It's very juvenile in the way that it is written. I'm not enjoying it. Life's too short for bad books. So I'm not going to continue with Moth and Spark. I DNF'd The Night Circus. I have never in my life read a setting-driven book, and I don't like them. So not only am I going to DNF The Night Circus, I'm going to unhaul The Starless Sea, because I've heard that is also setting driven. And I understand that both of them are beautifully written. I won't deny that. But setting is not enough for me at all. I need characters. I need plot. So I'm going to DNF The Night Circus, or I have DNF The Night Circus, and I'm going to unhaul The Starless Sea. Now, Dracula the Undead. Guys, it is weird. I understand why it has low ratings, because it is an odd little duck. I love it. I don't know if this is going to be a 5-star read for me, but the fact that it is like, I believe it's a 3.3 on Goodreads is a little baffling, but it's so wonderfully weird. And I've talked to a few people about it on my Discord and on Twitter. And every time I talk about it, I posted some pictures of it because the book is gorgeous. And I'll show it to you guys whenever I do my wrap up. But I love it, but it is an odd piece of literature here that we're dealing with. And I realized that I had said Darce Stoker. I don't know where that came from. It's Dacker Stoker. Never heard of that. Never heard that name in my life, but okay, Dacker Stoker. It's really wonderful and really weird. I do still have Conqueror's Moon to finish, to start. I don't know if I'll get to it this week. I'm thinking about going ahead and picking up a few other books that I've been meaning to read. We'll see how life goes in the next couple of days. I should be finishing Dracula the Undead either tonight or tomorrow. But I'm really enjoying it, even though it is probably one of the weirdest books I've ever read. All right, and here we are to do my weekly wrap up of the TBR 10. And man, guys, did I have a week. You saw all the footage from this week and how my reading was going. Ugh, man. Rough week. When we started off with this, I was trying to read Moth and Spark, and I DNF'd it. I got about 150 pages into this before I really set it down because the dialogue was bad. It was really rough. The descriptions were very juvenile, very on the nose, I guess, is the only way I can say that. And I just got to a point where I was no longer enjoying it. So I DNF'd that one. Let's talk about the other book that I DNF'd, which actually caused me to unhaul another book, The Night Circus. Now, this one wasn't on my TBR 10. It was just one that I picked up because the library notified me that I had put it on hold and it was available, and I didn't even remember putting it on hold. But I have never read a setting-driven novel before. I never will again. I did not enjoy it. I am a plot-driven reader. Can I read character-driven stories? Yes, but they're never my favorites. Setting-driven story, it doesn't even make sense to me. The writing was beautiful because it's setting-driven. There's a lot of description. One thing I feel like I should really explain here is that I don't like a lot of description. You guys have heard me say that I don't like Stephen King. That is why. You guys have probably heard me say I don't like George R.R. Martin. That is why. The fantasy series that I do love, there's a reason for it. I really love purposeful description. And a setting-driven story, while it has purposeful description, is just a whole lot of description. And I don't care. I am bummed because I was really looking forward to reading The Starless Sea, but I can't put my brain through that again. I cannot handle a book when there's no plot. There's some authors that I can read who do amazing character work, and I can get past it because they do amazing character work. And I appreciate that for what it is. So, I just don't think I'm going to read anything like that again. So, on to the 2 books that were on my TBR 10. I gave both of them 5 stars. American Demon by Kim Harrison. So, I have always been a big fan of the Hollows series. I'm one of the people who read it since the beginning and waited for every book to be released. Maybe not every book, but like the latter books to be released. I really enjoy Kim Harrison's writing. It's very straightforward. I love urban fantasy. This is one of the best urban fantasy. This and Women of the Other World by Kelly Armstrong, like, they're interchangeable for me. Like, one is equal to the other in terms of how much I enjoy them. It was fantastic. Jinx was being Jinx, and it was wonderful. Ivy was there, which I had heard she didn't play a big role in the story, and she kind of is just off to the sidelines, and that's fine. I just wanted her to be there. We have a lot of returning characters. We have a few new characters, and the plot is really, really good. When the series finished, I was really happy with the way it ended. There was some closure with a lot of things that had been left open in the series, and so I wasn't expecting another book. But second round, and it's like we pick up where we left off. And it's still really, really enjoyable. Let me get you guys the Goodreads rating for American Demon. 4.48. So, do I agree with the rating? No, because you'd still be at a 4.5. Or if you rounded, it would be a 4-star, and I believe it is a 5-star book. Fantastic. So the next book is Dracula the Undead by Dacher Stoker. Oh, man, was this book a trip. I was not prepared for what this book was. I don't know what I thought I was going to be reading, but this was not it. Y'all, this book is weird. It has a 3.13 rating on Goodreads. Did I agree with that rating? Absolutely not. Like, this is a 4.5 5-star book. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, even though it is so convoluted and so weird. So we're picking up where Dracula left off with Mina and Jonathan and their son. So, I don't even know how to explain this novel to you because it is so convoluted. Everything in it is convoluted, but in the best way possible. Bram Stoker is in this book. He's a character, and the book is in the book, and I don't even know how to explain it to you other than it is the most wonderfully weird thing I have read in a really long time. And if you love Bram Stoker's Dracula, there's a very good chance that you will love this because it is written in the same vein, even though it is just wildly, wildly weird. That's about all I can tell you. Okay, so those are my TBR 10 that I read. The only one that I have left for my TBR 10 is Conqueror's Moon by Julie and May. I will plan to read this next week. Hopefully. I've been DNFing a lot of stuff. I don't know what it is. I think part of my problem, and this is just me being real, I read The Year of the Witching like very recently, and it was so to the T on my taste that everything else is just kind of not meeting the mark. And that's a problem I have when I read a book that is absolutely amazing. Everything that comes after it kind of feels eh. But I really enjoyed Dracula the Undead, and I really enjoyed American Demons. So while it could be that, I really think that I just wasn't enjoying Moth and Spark. Okay, so I did read a few other things besides what was on my TBR 10. And I want to talk about those because I read 3 of the stories from the Forward series that I had talked about previously. And they were You Have Arrived at Your Destination by, I'm going to butcher this name because I heard it said, and the way I heard it said is not the way it comes out in my brain. Amor Towels. And it was good. It was okay. Like, it's another 3-star for me. I didn't get how this story fit in with the rest of the stories in this particular collection, but it was good. I have nothing bad to say about it. So the little blip says, nature or nurture? Neither. Discover a bold new way to raise a child in this unsettling story of a near future by the New York Times bestselling author of A Gentleman in Moscow. When Sam's wife first tells him about Vitek, a 21st century fertility lab, he sees it as the natural next step in trying to help their future child get a leg up in a competitive world. But the more Sam considers the lives that his child could lead, the more he begins to question his own relationships and the choices he's made in his life. So, I gave it a 3-star. It was decent. There's nothing wrong with it. I just really didn't get how it fit into this collection. And then I read The Last Conversation by Paul Tremblay. And I gave this one 3 stars as well. It wasn't bad. He's a horror writer, so I was expecting something a little scary from him, and I just didn't find this story to be scary. So it says, imagine you've woken up in an unfamiliar room with no memory of who you are, how you got there, or where you were before, and all you have is the disconnected voice of an attentive caretaker. Dr. Kuhn is there to help you, physically, emotionally, psychologically. She'll help you remember everything. She'll make sure you reclaim your lost identity. Now, answer one question. Are you sure you want to? So, this one, I saw how it fit into the collection. It was just not my favorite, and I was expecting it to be, like I said, a little on the horror side, which I guess this is, in a way, but in a way where nothing is scary until the very end, when you're like, oh, that's what's going on. Okay. And so the tension wasn't really there for me. But looking back, like, you can be like, oh, that was shady. That was some shady, shady stuff. But the one that I was blown away by, and I haven't finished reading all of the stories in this series yet, was Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin. Y'all, I'm ready to read everything that N.K. Jemisin writes. I have put off reading a lot of her works just because I've heard that they are completely daunting and go over a lot of people's heads. And while I consider myself to be fairly intelligent, like there's a lot of people who are like, I don't get it. And I read this story and I was absolutely blown away. It was a little jarring because it's written in second person, which I've heard she has a tendency to do. But I found it to be completely engrossing because of what she did. So the story is an explorer returns to gather information from a climate-ravaged Earth that his ancestors and other among the planet's finest fled centuries ago. The mission comes with a warning. A graveyard world awaits him. But so do those left behind. Hopeless and unbeautiful wastes of humanity who should have died out eons ago. After all this time, there's no telling how they've devolved. Steel yourself, soldier. Get in, get out, and try not to stare. Oh, this story did so many things that I was not prepared for. It talked about racism and classism, so many different issues in such a compelling and riveting way that I was staring at the wall for 40 minutes after I read this, going, holy crap, my mind is completely blown. And the way that she presents these issues was just you're sitting there agreeing with everything she's saying and then realizing how it is tied to everything going on in the world right now. And it was phenomenal. Everybody talks about Andy Weir's The Egg. I'm going to talk about Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin. Okay, the last short story that I read was The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. Have I read this before? Yeah, I wanted to listen to it though, because I had it as one of the free Audible downloads, and I just wanted to hear the story told to me because it's one of my favorite older horror stories, and I enjoyed it. There was nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it as much as I always have. So, I mean, do with that what you will, but there it is. And I talked about starting The Bone Farm by Dean Koontz. I didn't actually start that one because I wanted to go ahead and read or finish Dracula the Undead. So I went ahead and did that. And so I still have The Bone Farm to listen to, and I probably will pretty soon. All right, that is the end of my TBR 10. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things. Bye.